Hello, hello. You're listening to Midnight Movie Gang. It is currently 7:33 Night Movie Gang. I'm LC, and I'm here with my boy Joseph.
What's up,
What's up?
Alien Gang?
And Alien Gang. Today's Alien. Actually, next week. So today we're talking about Alien 3 or Alien Cubed,
Yeah,
and Alien 4 or
got it.
Alien Erection, Alien Resurrection,
Alien Erection.
Alien Erection. That's the porn parody of.
It
Although
might as
Alien
well be.
Resurrection
Yeah,
is already a porn parody
yeah.
of
It
the
kind
Alien
of is
franchise.
Alien Erection. You kind of hit it on the nail on the head first time.
Yeah, we'll get more into that, but we're talking about these movies in particular, not just because we're both fans of this universe. This is my favorite movie franchise, but
Yeah,
because as at the moment we're recording, a week from today is the release of Alien Romulus, which is the newest movie in this franchise. It's supposed to be a standalone, standalone kind of in between quel. Takes place between Alien and Aliens. Like I said, they
yeah.
need to have a pamphlet or a chart before you walk in the theater.
I mean, yeah.
Showing,
If you've seen some trailers, some of the trailers literally do that. They like lay out the timeline of like the Alien movies and say it goes here. It's just all you need to do is seen the first one and you're
yeah,
caught
yeah,
up.
I've seen those TikToks. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. So that movie's coming next week. We're looking forward to that. We're gonna do an episode on that movie as well.
Yeah.
That'll come out not too long after that. We're gonna have Harvey Thomas Boyd back on,
Our man.
who is a horror author who was on our In a Violent Nature episode. That was a great episode, and great not just because it was fun to record, but it's also one of our more popular ones.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to have him back on. Oh, and I forgot to mention, for those of you who if this is your first time clocking on to if this is your first time listening to us, this is Midnight Movie Gang. We are the Midnight Movie Gang.
We are
we talk
that.
we are that. We talk about kind of cult classic cinemas, sci-fi and horror, and these movies are definitely sci-fi and horror. Well, kind of horror with these.
Yeah, they kind of stray a little bit away, kind of after the first one.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, I feel like Alien 4, I feel like is straight up not a horror. It's an
No.
action movie.
Alien
And then
3 kind of tried to be a horror movie, but
Yeah.
it wasn't scary.
Yeah. Before we get into these movies specifically, I want to ask you, not going to ask you about your history with the Alien franchise, but because we've covered that in our Aliens episode,
Yeah.
which, by the way, go back and listen to that.
A lot of alien content.
What is your history with, so this, you and I watched these, it was your first time watching either of these movies.
Yeah.
What did you know about these movies before / what were you expecting going in?
I knew basically nothing about Alien 3 aside from no one really likes it. And Alien 4, I had like Resurrection, I should say. Alien Erection, I knew about. I knew about how weird it was and how no one really likes that one either. but that it's at least like more entertaining. And I knew about the weird fleshy alien at the end, and I knew Ron Perlman almost died.
The newborn.
Yeah, the newborn.
Almost dying filming that underwater scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a different world that would have been. We never would have got Hellboy with him.
Exactly. It would have never happened.
And it would have been because of fucking Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
I still think about the fact that when I saw all these movies way too young, but when I was a little kid and I saw Alien Resurrection for the so we'll get to it more specifically, but the introduction of Ron Perlman's character in Alien Resurrection, he's like acting like a monkey.
Yeah.
Like he's doing like the ooh like a monkey. And I thought that he was like a mutant monkey, man. Like legit. Like I thought that was like a part of
Honestly,
his
man,
character.
I would have probably thought the same thing. Especially like if you don't know who Ron Perlman is, his face looks like a prosthetic. Like
Yeah.
I remember seeing him outside of the Hellboy makeup for the first time and thinking, "Oh my god, his face literally just looks like that."
Yeah,
They just painted him red. That's crazy.
That's why he was perfect casting. And this new Hellboy. Have you seen the trailer for the new low budget Hellboy movie?
Are we doing another? It's another one, huh?
Well, it's like a
Till we get a good one.
It's a super low budget, but I am personally not a fan of how it's looking because this is a shot from the trailer.
It looks like the comic.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. I think that it's a little bit of it. I don't like his blue eyes. Hellboy's supposed to have yellow eyes.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know,
That's
folks
true,
at home.
but whatever.
Yeah, folks at home are just looking at a screenshot. But we're
Could
not
be
here to talk
good.
about. We're not here to talk about Hellboy. We're here to talk about Alien. So yeah, I'll briefly kind of touch on my history of these. So yeah, saw all these movies when I was a kid. The ones I rewatched the most of these four films. Oh, actually, before I get into my history with it, I want to talk about our viewing experience a little bit. So I have a Blu-ray box set
Oh
of the
yeah.
four first movies, and the Alien Resurrection disc kept skipping
It fucked
over some.
up.
It kept fucking up over some core seeds, and I was really pissed off about it
It's real
because
sad.
like I don't want this one movie in the set to be fucked up. So last night after I got home from work, so while I was at work when I was looking up like ways to fix discs and stuff online, and one of the most common things I've seen is you can apparently, well, it didn't work for me, but you can use toothpaste to fix your disc. So I found this
Oh, so
tutorial
I've heard
that
that you should not do that.
well, I did it. Where basically I found this tutorial which folks at home, I don't recommend doing this. It didn't work for
Yeah.
me. Apparently, it depends on what kind of toothpaste you're using.
Yeah.
But I used a cotton ball and I basically like applied toothpaste all over the bottom of the disc, let it sit for 10 minutes, and then kind of just washed it off gently with water.
Yeah.
And then dried it up, dabbed it with a washcloth, and I think it might have worked a little. Like I feel like it
Okay.
wasn't skipping as much during those like when I went and tested it afterwards.
Yeah.
But like the disc, but yeah, it didn't work. So I ordered
Sad.
I ordered another copy of fucking Alien Resurrection. God damn it. On
That one's
on
gonna
Amazon.
go bad too, man. God, I hate how temporary everything is in life.
Yeah, everything gets destroyed.
God damn
I
it.
don't know.
Heat
This
death of
is
the
only
universe.
this is only the second movie I've had serious disc issues.
Okay.
This and my Interstellar Blu-ray.
Nice.
Which I'm more mad about this because it's like a movie within a box set.
Yeah.
So it's like all of them except for one being fucked up pisses me off.
Well, I think it's
Plus,
the way
like,
it's stored in the box, right? Like it's
yeah, no, it looks cool that it's a book. So like this Alien
Yeah.
quadrilogy set, it's like a book, and the movies just kind of slide into these little sleeves, and it looks nice, but the data side of the disc is always being slid against the cardboard.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, it's like
no,
making direct contact with a surface all the time.
yeah, instead of like being snapped in.
Mhm.
But I don't know. None of the other movie, like I rewatch Alien. I rewatched that Alien Blu-ray and the Aliens Blu-ray a lot, and I haven't had any problems before. So hopefully this new one. But anyway, sorry,
Got
little
gremlins in
tangent. Yeah, little tangent. It's been annoying me the last day. But anyway, I still think physical media is superior though, but that's his own thing. Because with digital, hey, the studio might take it away. I would rather have the wear and tear of time of Mother Nature take away my movies than Amazon like decide they don't want to pay for the fucking license. Or something.
Can I just say I'm looking at the poster for Alien 3 that you have pulled up on Wikipedia.
On Wikipedia, yeah.
It says 3 times the suspense, 3 times the danger, 3 times the terror. First thing, that's not true. Second off, the title is stylized as Alien Cubed, and that's cubed does not mean 3 times.
Alien to the power of 3.
It's like, yeah.
Also, this poster is implying that there are 3 aliens.
Yeah. And there's only a single one.
Spoiler alert: there's only one alien in Alien 3.
1.5.
Which that already by itself is kind of a knock against it because we're reducing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is like if you want to walk it back from being like this bombastic action series, you have to at least like make it interesting again.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, this movie's really boring.
Yeah. Right now I'm showing Joseph real quick the original teaser trailer.
Oh yeah,
before they had anything filmed. Where basically, so it's a shot of an alien egg, and then the final shot it opens up above Earth. I'm showing him so you can see Earth.
Yeah.
This time the aliens come home.
But they don't because this movie doesn't take place on Earth. Spoiler alert.
No, so like.
And there's a trailer that they released.
Indeed, before they even knew what the fuck they were doing. So long story short, I feel like all 3 Alien movies all 4 kind of have hectic production stories. Like none of them were easy movies to film. None of these original 4, but 3 in particular was like the harshest one, because it was the first time film. It was the film debut of David Fincher. Yeah, before this, he mostly did a bunch of music videos. He did music videos for Madonna and like other big artists, but this was his first film. And the biggest thing with this movie was like he was a new director, and he's disavowed this movie. Like he had no control over everything. The studio was constantly like giving him notes and like wanting him to change things, and like he just had no power.
It makes me wonder what the Fincher cut of this movie would look like, because I feel like he had more control than he lets on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like we were noting when we were watching that, like his fingerprints are all over this.
You can feel the Fincher energy, especially in like a lot of the ways it's shot.
Like I doubt it was a studio mandate to have the first 10 minutes of the movie be an autopsy of the little girl from the last movie.
Yeah, that definitely seems like something that Fincher would want to do.
Yeah.
Especially I rewatched 7 last week, and yeah, that, like he loves his like just body horror.
Sit in an uncomfortable scene for a while, and that's a lot of this movie.
Yeah, a lot of this
point where it's not fun to watch.
This whole movie is kind of just a long, uncomfortable scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go into the plot a little bit.
Yeah.
So the movie opens up with the opening title sequence is cut together with all these shots of the escape pod from the end of Aliens.
Yep.
Which if folks at home, if you didn't remember how Aliens ended, Ripley, Hicks, the remaining body parts of Bishop, and Newt, the little girl, all jettison away in the escape pod at the end of Aliens,
which ends up being pointless.
It ends up not even fucking mattering.
Yeah, they should have just been Ripley, according to this movie.
Yeah. And what's it called? And the escape pod crash lands on a prison planet called
Furiosa.
Furiosa, yeah, Imperator Furiosa 161, which is a prison planet, and she also just happens to crash right outside the main facility on the planet, where basically there's this small group of prisoners who are basically it's basically slave labor.
That's my thing.
Weyland-Yutani.
It's like this isolated group of like 25 dudes that it used to be a prison planet, and now it's like a skeleton crew running it, and they have some religious fanatics, which is almost a cool idea if you just picked one way or another. Like, is it a cult on a planet or is it a prison planet? And they're like, nah, we'll just like kind of split it and get the worst parts of both.
That is true. It is kind of spread thin as far as like you never really feel like you're in like an oppressive prison environment, and also like the cult shit and the god stuff is so thinly spread.
It does feel a little bit like I'm stuck there the whole movie, because the whole movie has the same brown color palette, and I'm looking at the same brown walls constantly, and the same sweaty bald men arguing for most of the movie about an alien that may or may not be there, because we never see it.
Just sweaty bald British men running around. A lot of these actors, I realized a lot of these actors are in like other kind of like big British properties, like
Pete
the
Postlethwaite, dude.
Yeah, the T-Rex hunter from Jurassic Park 2.
Yeah, the man with the biggest face of anybody you've ever seen.
He's got a big face. He's got the highest cheekbones. Is he dead?
Oh, rest in peace.
Hold up.
Rest in peace to those cheekbones.
He died
in 2011.
At 64, that's not that old.
Yeah.
Hold up. I want to know how he died. This is now the Peter
They had to bury him extra deep to make sure his cheekbones were submerged.
Yeah, because like they didn't do it first enough in his cheekbones.
They were just like a couple hills sticking up. Yeah.
He died of cancer, unfortunately.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Pete.
Sorry.
I'm glad you were in better movies than this.
True. So what was I talking about? Charles Dance, the actor who plays the doctor character in this movie, who is probably I think
he looked very familiar to me. I couldn't quite place him.
The main thing that I know him from is he's Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that would be.
So you might have seen him in Game of Thrones. He's also like an old man.
Yeah.
At that point, so this is him now.
He's Ripley's love interest, weirdly enough.
He is in this movie, and it is kind of weird. We can talk a little bit about Ripley's characterization. So the prisoners recover her, and also throughout this opening cut sequence, we see like that there was a chestburster egg on the ship.
Yeah,
and you see this chestburster.
So in an hour and a half, when Ripley discovers that there was a chestburster on the ship, we already know, but it's a big surprise to her.
Yeah, like we've seen this chestburster.
So there's zero tension.
Yeah, and basically, they recover her, and early on in the sequence, we see a doggy, jump onto the escape pod and like run around because they have a dog on this on the ship. We watched the theatrical cut of this movie, by the way. There is it's not a director's cut. Like Fincher doesn't necessarily call it a director's cut.
Okay.
But the other biggest known version of this movie is called the assembly cut, which what it sounds like. It was essentially like a rough cut of the movie before they finally cut a lot of shit out. And it's 30 minutes longer. This movie
already felt 3 hours long.
Yeah, and I think it's like one of the shorter ones.
Yeah.
So this assembly cut, a lot of what I've seen it before. A lot of what it does is so they add a whole new plot line in there, basically, where you know the plan in the movie where they try to capture the alien inside this like big bulkhead thing.
Yeah.
In the assembly cut, they capture it.
Okay.
But one of the prisoners, Gallic, who in this movie, he's the one who calls it like it's a dragon, like that guy.
Yeah.
He becomes obsessed with the alien and sees it as a god and like releases it.
See, that makes sense because it goes nowhere in the movie.
Yeah. It literally is kind of a useless like plot. Like they try to capture it and it fails, and a few people die, but no one that we care about really.
Yeah. It's just a lot of bald men arguing. It's bald men and bald Ripley arguing the movie with brown walls.
Yeah, pretty much. But this doggy gets got by the face hugger off screen. Gets face hugged.
Yeah.
And then Ripley, when she wakes up to Charles Dance, and she's pretty much hitting on him from the jump. And she's all like, "I need to know how Newt died. I needed the body."
We need a 10-minute long scene where you do an autopsy on a little girl that we all grew to love in the last movie. That should really get people on board with the movie.
And we're gonna have a couple of too many shots of this like naked dead 12-year-old girl.
We're gonna have really graphic sounds of us cutting into her chest cavity,
and seeing all the blood.
You can't tell me that's not a David Fincher choice. Is my thing.
Oh no, 100%. That feels very Fincher.
That was not the studio saying we need the scene of cutting open the little girl.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a scene that went on for too long, and it's a thing. It was one of the more this movie was not well received at all when it came out, and still to this day. And that scene was one of the peak ones that people point out. It'd be one thing if it like added really anything to the movie, but it doesn't really. It's kind of just like setting like a dour tone. That's kind of all it does. It makes me like uncomfortable with the movie. The movie kind of just gets more depressing and more dark, and like a lot of unnecessarily darkness, even down to like I guess we can.
And then they overcorrect for the next one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
We'll get to the scene I was about to talk about in a bit, but basically, So like this movie is so hated to the point where like a lot of Alien content afterwards kind of will either ignore this movie. So one of the biggest ones was Neil Blomkamp. I don't know if you remember this, but Neil Blomkamp of District 9 fame was supposed to direct an Alien movie. And it was supposed to be basically like a direct sequel to Aliens, ignoring Alien 3 and 4 in the timeline. So like it was going to be, they were going to have Ripley, Hicks, like Michael Biehn as Hicks was going to be back in it. They were going to have some other actress play like an older Newt.
Cool.
And stuff, and they were like in this like biodome space station type thing, and there was actually there's still concept art out there from it. Neil Blomkamp Alien. There's like so this is like some of the concept. There was going to be like remote control aliens.
That's
like
sick.
This. There was gonna so it was going to be this like big biodome facilities like this.
So Jurassic Park, but with aliens.
Pretty much Jurassic World with aliens, where there's going to be an alien queen stomping around this.
Could have been
Yep.
good. Maybe
Yep. I
not.
remember seeing this.
Because it's an Alien sequel and they seem to be fucking cursed.
Yeah, and I think they used a lot of the assets and production stuff from this movie and put it towards Elysium.
It's crazy that like 4 of the 6 Alien movies that we have are considered bad. Isn't that nuts?
Are you talking about 3, 4, Prometheus, and Covenant?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like Prometheus is a bit more divisive. I personally I like Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
More than the other 3 movies. But Covenant, for me, Covenant is damn. If I had to rank the bad ones,
okay,
personally, I'd put Resurrection on top.
Yeah.
Personally, which we'll get to, then Prometheus, and then 3. Here's the thing: I don't know what's worse, Covenant or 3, because they're both boring. Like because there's fun bad, which is kind of what Resurrection is.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's like a breath of fresh air after this.
After 3, yeah. If for whatever reason we didn't watch 3 and we went right to 4, you probably
I would have a lot worse things to say about 4 if we hadn't watched 3 beforehand. Yes.
If you hadn't known, like, well, at least it's not that.
Yeah. I didn't know. I'm glad I knew how bad an Alien movie could be before.
Yeah. I guess I would give Alien 3 a bit of an edge over Covenant.
Yeah.
Because I will say, I'm pretty sure every single alien in Covenant, like, which there's the xenomorph and there's other like alien creatures too, every single one is CGI and like bad CGI
That sucks.
to that point. Whereas like in this movie, there's some bad CGI.
Yeah, well, it's not even CGI. It's like compositing puppets. Well, yeah, we'll get to it.
So like I was but in this movie, when the alien is practical, because it is practical a good amount of the time you see it, it looks fucking great.
Yeah, the practical puppets have always looked good.
Yeah, in this one I really like how they alter the design, because basically this alien, so the doggy burster happens while they throw Newt and Hicks into a lava pit, because Ripley lies to them saying that like, oh, I'm worried about that they're cholera. This alien, I like how the design, because it comes from a dog, it has some more, it's a little bit more animalistic, like it runs around on all 4s. It's kind of like its body is like a little slimmer almost. Its mouth, it looks like it has like wider articulation, like it can open its mouth more. No, it's brown.
Yeah.
As opposed
it's
to
got
black.
A translucent head.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it looks fine.
Yeah.
I think it could have been a little more interesting looking, like the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Well, apparently H.R. Giger had like, I was watching a video about it today. H.R. Giger, Alien 3. He had like a revamped design of the alien that was gonna be more kind of like dog-like. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
It had weird lips.
They got Giger. Well, yeah. I mean, if you've ever looked at Giger's art, that fits way better with like his vision.
That's true. It's like got an elongated tailpiece. Me and Joseph were just looking at the pictures on.
Because like that's why I'm not a big fan of the aliens in Aliens, because they get rid of that smoothness. They add all these like ridges to their heads, and they just feel a little less weird and a little more movie-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're a little bit more. You can tell.
I love Giger's art. Like I could look at it all day. It's awesome.
Absolutely. I think the reason why they went with the bumpy, rubbery heads in Aliens was actually like a practical decision from James Cameron.
Really?
Because he was like, the big glass dome that's gonna break and that's gonna be expensive to get new ones made.
Okay.
If they have rubbery, rigid heads,
and it gets like dented, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Because it'll kind of blend into the, which is a very James Cameron.
Yeah.
Like
that man is a workman.
Yeah. No, that man makes movies.
Yeah.
He's like, is it worse art? Probably, but do I give a fuck?
I want to crank these movies out unless it's Avatar. In that case, I'll work on it for 20 fucking years.
Yeah. Well, with Avatar, I think with Avatar, there's pre-Titanic James Cameron is like, I'm gonna do the best with what I got. Post-Titanic James Cameron, or Titanic and above, is like, I have infinite money. like these studios will give me infinite money, so I will take my damn time to make sure it's perfect.
I'm James fucking Cameron. I'm king of the
James
world, and I don't
James
care who
fucking
thinks I'm annoying at the Oscars.
Yeah. So Ripley, after this, she saves her head because they talk about how there's a lice problem on this space prison because they brought the lice, which you had an issue with.
Well, yeah. Honestly, like I'm kind of like there's spiders on in all these alien movies. There's spiders on space stations and spaceships, and there's like bugs on this alien planet, and it just feels like it feels less likely for them to be there than for the than it would. Like who's bringing lice on a ship? Like, would you not like delouse prisoners before taking them off the planet? But I guess
I don't know.
Who cares?
I don't know. My thing, maybe it could like be like there was maggots in like food shipments or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's not that important.
Yeah, it's not the hugest thing. There's a lice problem, and we need Ripley to have her cool,
her
cool hair, her cool,
her
haircut.
Shaved head. She has to. You have to be able to see that she looks different in this one.
Yeah, which she hated the shaved head, by the way.
Bummer.
And from what I understand, according to the video I watched today, so after they were finished with principal photography, when they ordered reshoots and they wanted her to shave her head again, she was like, if you want, any time you want me to shave my head, you're going to have to give me an extra $40,000. And so the studio, instead of doing that, for all the reshoots, they spent $16,000 on making this like super realistic bald cap.
I hadn't noticed. Fuck it.
I mean, it's a really good bald cap because there's a poster where it's like where it's for sure this poster is the bald cap specifically. This poster.
Oh, I can tell.
Yeah, it's like a bit more elongated.
You can. It's like it's like in Gran Torino, or not Gran Torino. Whatever, the Breaking Bad movie, where his head they just look like aliens a little bit.
Yeah, like their head looks a little too big.
Yeah, they got these bulbous heads.
Indeed.
Walter White's bulbous head.
Yeah. So she's bald. It's a cool look, I think. It definitely does distinguish this movie by itself, and basically it does. Although I think the fact that everybody's bald in this movie makes it harder to tell who's who.
Yeah, and it makes it extra hard when I don't really care.
Yeah, that too.
You could just change it. Like most of these characters, you could like swap around, and I wouldn't even notice.
Yeah. So basically, the alien's running around. It bursts out of the pupper, which if you don't like seeing dogs die, this definitely ain't gonna be it for you.
Happens right at the top.
Yeah, it happens right at the jump. The dog is the first death, actually. Now I think about it.
I called it too.
Yep. And basically, the alien's running around the ship, and the first human death is this guy who like sees it down a hole. The alien spits acid in his face, and
which
then
is a thing that they can do now.
Yeah, they gained a new ability between movies, I guess. And basically, this guy falls into a big fan, in it, which he's like uphill of like a big fan, a big giant fast.
He's doing his mopping in the big fan.
He's like
while the big fan is on.
Tunnel.
Yeah,
and
apparently there's a lot of spills in the big fan that you need to mop.
Some fucking Final Destination shit. He falls down and he gets shredded by this fan.
Yeah, he gets absolutely eviscerated like it's a video game.
And it's gnarly.
He's jibbed.
Yep. And there's kind of this period where like a couple of these prisoners are getting killed, and you don't really see a lot of the alien killing them necessarily. Like there's some kind of like the best kill, my personal favorite kill is I think it's the second kill, when the black dude gets killed in front of Gallic, and like the blood just like bursts everywhere,
it pours all over the guy. Yeah,
it pours all over the guy, and then the alien is covered. Like that's my
favorite.
That's
a cool ass shot. Yeah,
is the alien all covered in blood.
Yeah.
And basically Clemens is kind of like trying to investigate what the fuck's going on here. He finds like a little alien shedded skin, like a snake skin. He finds some like acid drips, and Ripley is not being honest with him
for some fucking reason. I still don't know why she didn't just say, "Hey guys, there was a thing that was attached to the ship that might like be dangerous. Just look out." She's really playing it close to the vest, and I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why.
So after rewatching it, before I agreed with you at the time while we were watching that it did make sense, but as we were, especially by the end, once she's kind of talking about how like once she finds out, spoiler alert, once she finds out that she herself has an alien in her, she's impregnated or whatever, with a queen alien.
Yeah.
She's like when Weyland Yutani comes here, they're not gonna destroy the creature. They're gonna bring it back to Earth, and they're gonna try to weaponize it, and it's gonna kill everyone. And I think that is her motivation for like being more secretive, because she doesn't want anybody to sell her out to the company. Because
sure.
Yeah,
but Weyland was coming either way.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think that her goal is like, I'm going to kill this thing, I'm going to destroy it. She wants to find it first and kill it and destroy it before Weyland get there. Yeah. That way they have no chance of getting... Because if Weyland shows up, there's nothing that she could do. Or like if all these guys gang up on her of like stopping her from destroying it, there's nothing that they could do that she could do to stop them. Kind of a loose fucking reason.
I guess I'll take it.
But after we finish the movie, I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense to me.
Whatever, yeah, sure, whatever.
Either way, it doesn't matter. I think in general, I want to talk a little about Sigourney Weaver feels fucking bored this entire movie.
She feels like she didn't want to do this one.
Yeah, you can tell that.
As opposed to Resurrection, where she's just having a great old time.
She's having a great time being horny and weird.
And this one, in this one, she's just she's bored, and so am I, and so is everybody, because we're on a fucking prison planet.
Yeah. And sorry, go on.
And it's an alien movie in which the alien is kind of like there, and they're all kind of scared of it, but it doesn't really show up all that often, and it's just kind of like, we're all so scared of this alien that's running around. It's not really killing anybody. It's just kind of, we know it's like loose in the facility, but like that's scary, right? And we're just gonna argue and be bald at each other.
Yeah, we're just gonna be bald British heads to each other.
That's my review in a nutshell, though.
A bunch of bald British guys.
Yeah, an alien is in the background.
Yeah, Dr. Clemens with his hitman head, which all the prisoners have.
They have the hitman.
Hitman barcode tags on the back of their head.
Which this came first, to be fair.
Yes. And Ripley asks Clemens, which by the way, so Clemens is digging in like, what the fuck's actually going on, and she just sleeps with him.
Yeah.
Which seems
she's just like, hey, you want to bang?
Yeah, kind of like this, which seems kind of out of character
and he's
for her.
Like,
well, I guess next movie, if her clone is anything like the original, then like, oh, maybe Ripley did have a horny streak.
Yeah.
But she asks him like, what did you do? What was your crime? And he's like, maybe later. Maybe once we get well into the second act.
It's honestly so bad that I don't want to share. And then, the guy who's in charge of the facility is like, "Do you know? We know what you are and what you did. Yeah. Does she know?" And it's like, wow, what the fuck did this guy do? It must have been really, really bad.
It's kind of the only thing that we haven't. And basically, it's revealed that he was a morphine addict, and he administered like the wrong dose of medication to some people.
He did some malpractice.
Yeah, and I think 10 people died, I think is what they said.
Yeah, and that's like, that's bad. But like, I feel like it's not like a string me along for half the movie bad.
Yeah, it was kind of boring. I don't know if it's like send to prison planet worthy bad, because I don't know, he was as far as like all the other characters, they kind of say like, yeah, they're rapists and murderers and shit, and like all this. But
he just kind of committed medical. It's not even the worst crime we had heard up to that point.
No, not at all.
And then it's like, does this change the way you look at this character? Doesn't matter, because he's dead. Literally a minute after he says that story.
They literally kill him the moment that you learn his backstory. Like, so now we care a little bit more that he is dying because this sad backstory. But basically, what happens? Yeah, so the alien, we get another cool shot that is like a famous shot from this movie.
Really good shot.
Where like Ripley, she's bald and she's up against the wall, and actually we get a famous shot, but right before, so this shot, I bring the screenshot up right before like right this shot. Her face. Yep, is probably the worst shot, the best shot in the movie. Preceding the worst shot in the movie, where when the alien crawls up to her, this shot where the alien crawls up to her, and it's this. Oh, by the way, so the way you did it, you said talking about the compositing. The way they did a lot of these shots is basically they had an alien puppet with like rods and shit.
Yeah.
And they shot all the movements they needed for it on a blue screen. And then they cut out and composited it onto it. And
it's one of those things where it doesn't work, and you know that like when they were making the movie they could tell it didn't work, but at that point it's like we're not going to redo these effects. This is just how it's going to look.
Fucking put it. The studio's like, fuck it, put it out.
People there's a reason.
Need to see it.
There's a reason. There's like barely any shots of it in the movie. And when you see it, it's only like for like a second or two.
Yeah.
You can tell they were a little bit ashamed.
Pretty much.
And it's and it's shocking too, because they're like, it's completely different color and like contrast from everything around it, and the way it's moving just doesn't work. It just does not look convincing for a second.
Yeah. No, it really sucks. But yeah, basically we get the really cool shot of it going up to her face, which is been postered and parodied and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, after this point, the alien kills the dude in charge, and all the prisoners. Everyone kind of knows that there's an alien running around. And even then, when like all the characters are on board with like all the bald heads are scared of the alien, and we're waiting for the Weyland-Yutani rescue team to arrive. There's no feeling of urgency.
No. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, is like the alien is like an absent threat.
Yeah, like you compare it to the first movie. Like the first movie, it's one alien, it's less people.
But it's on like this confined little spaceship, so it's like this thing could be anywhere.
Well, I think it's a combination of, like I said this while we were watching Alien 3. I think a big element of it is like that first Alien movie, Ridley Scott's direction and how he decides to shoot really gives you a great sense of environment on this ship, right? As far as like you get a solid geographic layout of like where things are. Like, okay, this is like the shitty engine room. Yeah. This is the dining area. These are the living quarters. These are the cryopod room. This is the infirmary. And I get a really great sense of place. Like I feel like I'm in a real environment. Whereas this movie, everything's just brown. It's just brown hallways.
It's just brown with the same texture on the walls. It's warm lighting and concrete walls. It's so fucking boring looking.
Yeah, because you know what else is the sound design isn't there either.
No,
as far as like something I definitely
the lighting
noticed.
Either.
The lighting, there isn't really anything dynamic. Like all the extra substance stuff really isn't there.
Because I mean, like the lighting in alien movies is like half of what they're known for. Like half the influence across all all media of science fiction horror. It takes its cues from lighting from Alien and Aliens, and then this movie's just flat yellow lighting across the board.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing, when we were watching this movie, you were like, well, Alien and Romulus is going to be better than this.
Yeah. We've set a pretty low bar here.
It's going to be better than this, and it's probably going to be better than Alien Resurrection.
Oh, dear God, let it be better than Alien Resurrection.
I don't think we have to worry about that either, but it'll definitely be better than Alien 3.
Really hope so.
Yeah, but, so basically, so all the criminals start worrying about the aliens. Ripley has some movie sickness where she's like, I don't feel good, and start passing out, and then she goes to an X-ray machine, and you see she has an alien inside of her. Not only that, she has a queen alien inside of her, which, by the way, a continuity error that we didn't talk about during the movie. There was only one face hugger on the ship. Yeah. There's only one face hugger egg. Yeah,
and this one just like they're just like, it must have just got me while I was sleeping.
But how did the one chest burster get her and the dog?
Yeah, face huggers die after they do the deed, right? Maybe there was one that they showed. Maybe there was a secret other one that crept into her cryo tube somehow.
So I think in either the novelization or there was some video essay I read that explained that like what it is, and I don't know what the source is necessarily, but like this face hugger was a queen face hugger.
Okay.
And the queen
face huggers... I
didn't
know those existed, but...
Apparently.
Yeah.
And the queen face huggers have a queen embryo and a regular drone embryo.
Okay.
So they got two. So 2 for 1.
I guess that fills that plot hole in the novelization or whatever the hell.
Yeah. But no, real stupid. It's something that here's the thing. It's something that is so inconsequential they don't show enough to where you didn't think about it while we were watching it.
Nope.
And I didn't think about it really either.
I guess I think it bounced off my head. Like I was like, wait a minute.
One of the bald heads.
I don't care. Yeah, it's like a cue ball head. And I was, because I think it was like, wait a minute, how did it get in the like her tube and I don't care. I don't care about any of this.
So basically, we get an attempt at capturing the alien that doesn't work. There's a lot of bald guys running around hallway. That's what the last third of this movie is.
Yeah,
just a lot of bald
running
guys
around, scared.
And we
no
get
one
the
has
alien,
a gun.
we get alien vision, which gets held for a while, where it's like the camera's kind of moving up and down the walls and shit.
Yeah,
and it's cool for a second.
It'd be cool if the people weren't obviously outrunning the alien very easily.
Yeah. Extremely like, man, this alien is slow.
This is really slow. I could outrun this thing.
Yeah. And basically, so what happened? So basically, before they do the final move on the alien, Dylan, who's a character we haven't even mentioned, Dylan
doesn't matter.
the only other American in this prison aside from Ripley, it gives like a little speech where he's like, "Fuck that thing."
They really thought it was going to be a really cool speech.
Yeah.
But
I like the line where he's like, "Are you gonna fucking die on your knee? You gonna die standing or on your fucking knees begging?" I don't know why that line gets me.
What am I gonna beg the alien for?
Why am I on my knees?
Yeah.
What's the alien doing? But yeah. So and I think Dylan's a cool character as far as he has some cool moments where he beats the shit out of people. And he's kind of like the pseudo religious leader.
Yeah.
Of the prison. So like once again, I feel like a lot of potential for some interesting stuff. A lot of him and the doctor are semi-interesting when they're introduced. Like there's a little bit going on, and if there was just kind of like some more, if people cared more,
yeah,
it
could have been interesting. Is my 3-word review of this movie?
Yeah, could have been cool. Sounds kind of cool on paper. Would be a really cool would be a really cool Dead Space-esque video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Callisto Protocol is what you're looking for.
Yeah, so they lure the alien into the lead pit because oh yeah, that's another thing. So like the alien won't kill Ripley because she's with child with chestburster, which makes sense.
So whatever.
And they use that to lure the alien into the lead pit. And
the guy sacrifices himself and they dump hot lead on the alien.
Yeah, they dump hot lead on the alien,
and then it's just like, oh no, now we just have an alien covered in hot lead. This is so much worse.
Pops out of the fucking water, like out of the lead, like Jason jumping out of the lake. And
neither of us were fooled. I mean, I know you've seen the movie before, but like, and they dump the lead, and it's like the lead is still liquid. That alien is jumping out of the lead. Why would this kill the alien? It can survive in fucking space.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious. It's a silly little jump. It jumps out of the lead. It's climbing after Ripley, and then there's a final thing where they're like, Ripley, like it's boiling hot. Pour the sprinklers on it because like the heat, because physics. Because the heat makes the water on the hot alien.
Whatever.
Makes it explode, and then it fucking explodes.
Yeah, in the most realistic fashion.
And that's the alien. And then Lance Hendrickson shows up as not Bishop. Ripley's like, Bishop? And
he's like, no, I'm the guy who designed Bishop. I'm like Noonien Soon, pretty much. Just think of me as Noonien Soon if you've ever seen Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's what he says.
Yeah, I'm Brent Spiner, Data. Yeah, so basically, according to Wikipedia here, so the character, she thinks it's another Bishop android, but it's the character is Michael Bishop Wayland, who is apparently a descendant of the OG.
It feels more convoluted every time I see Lance Hendrickson show up in one of these movies. The lore changes entirely every single time they bring it up.
Prometheus fucks up that lore too, bro.
I bet. I fucking bet.
With Wayland. But yeah, so this character in Time Materials and Comics is named Michael Bishop Wayland. And he gets hit upside the head with a pole, and his ears like hanging off.
He bleeds red blood, so he's not an android.
And he bleeds red blood, so he's human. And then Ripley, she's chest bursting, and she Terminator 2s herself.
Yep.
And falls backwards into the...
She kills herself because she doesn't want them to have it.
Exactly. And as she's falling, the little queen chest burster pops out.
Yeah, one last scare.
And she hugs it as she falls.
Yeah, she hugs it because she's its mother, I guess. Who knows? Who cares? She's dead. And there'll never be another Alien movie with Ripley again.
And then they'll never do it. And you know what's funny? When they started production on Alien I remember watching the behind the scenes on the Blu-ray box set. The original, they were like, okay, what are we going to come up with without Ripley? Because Ripley's not going to be in it.
Let's just do Ripley again. Fuck it.
They had a bunch of shit that they were like... they had a bunch of shit that they were planning on doing. And at the end of the day, we're like, no, we got to bring Ripley back.
Man, this franchise sucks without Ripley. Let's just not do that.
People like Ripley. Every movie that doesn't have Ripley in it also is poorly.
Let's bring back Ripley, but then change her personality like entirely. Fuck it.
Why don't we just put the aliens in the back of a Waffle House? So Alien Resurrection, Alien 4, is a 1997 science fiction horror film directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, the director of Amélie.
Weird fact.
Yeah, he directed Amélie after directing this movie. It was the first movie he directed after this movie, which is really
fucking wild.
And yeah, basically, so this movie, we kind of half-watched the special edition because the Blu-ray started skipping, and then we switched to streaming.
We watched the weird-ass opening shot.
Which the main reason I wanted to watch the director's cut of this one is for that opening shot, because...
It's a sequel to A Bug's Life, dude.
Indeed.
It looks exactly like A Bug's Life.
Indeed. So the director's cut of this movie opens up with some teeth, some really bad CGI teeth.
You think it's the alien mouth rendered in really bad CGI, but it's actually a bug's mouth rendered in really bad CGI.
Indeed. The camera pans out and you see this really ugly CGI bug.
A guy crushes it with his index finger, which who the fuck does that?
Yeah, the guy in the spaceship crushes it. You follow the finger coming to his face. He looks at it.
He's drinking his big gulp.
I swear to God that I have a memory as a kid of him eat, like Mandela effect. Like
I bet. Like, it looks like he's gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he thinks like happened. And then he does it. He takes his straw out of his big cup.
His big gulp.
And he shoots. He shoots it at the screen.
Which, like, why would he do that?
And then title Alien Resurrection.
I don't know what motivation would compel someone to open their Alien movie with that.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost, you know what? I think it's him telling the audience, "Hey, this is a comedy."
Yeah,
this movie is a comedy.
Don't take yourself too seriously. Just sit back, relax, smoke them if you got them.
But that's the thing is, like, it's a comedy in some scenes, and then it's like a horribly disturbing body horror movie in other scenes, and never the two shall meet.
There's actually one particular scene that is burned into my memory as a child, and I think it's a very effective scene. We'll get to it more soon, but it's the 1 through 7 scene.
Yeah. That shit's not funny at all.
No, that wasn't no joke.
Yeah, that shit was super disturbing. Yeah.
The last stop, even Sigourney Weaver, her performance, she was like, yeah, damn, she's...
Yeah, I want to get out of the scene. It's so uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much where this movie lies. It's either uncomfortable or funny. And another reason why it's funny...
It's just all over the place.
Is because, famously, this movie was written by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
The script was written by Joss Whedon, pre-Firefly. The pirate crew in this movie is very much like him testing out some Firefly ideas, for sure. Basically, so from what I understand with the making of this movie, the issue with it was that Jean-Pierre Jeunet at this time, French director, he didn't speak English very well, and from what I understand with interviews with people on set, he had a very hard time directing the actor's performance with this dialogue, just because he had a translator on set with him the whole time.
That makes a lot of sense.
And it was just difficult to kind of direct these performances from his. So it makes sense that like it feels kind of scattered in that way.
Yeah.
Like there are some characters who are playing, like Winona Ryder, I feel like is trying to play it way more serious than everybody else.
Yeah, no one
Sigourney
knows what
Weaver,
movie they're in. Everyone's in a different movie.
Sigourney Weaver's doing a porn thing.
Yeah.
Fucking
With Winona Ryder.
yeah. Ron Perlman thinks he's in fucking Starship Troopers or something.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole, or like a fucking rated R Star Wars movie. Like it's all over the place. So breaking into the plot, it's 200 years after the events of Alien 3. They found, so using blood samples from like the prison planet, which basically the idea is like the blood samples that the Dr. Clemens took from her when they were healing her back to health, like they used that to clone her.
Yeah.
And not only did they clone her, but they also cloned the alien queen chest burster inside of her, which is what they really want. And this movie opens up with them cutting it open and getting it from her chest. And then there's some scenes where
they put her in the big hole.
they put her in the big hole, and she starts shedding her skin, and her chest scar heals really fast, and like her health is so much better than they expect.
Aliens are really good at basketball, but we'll get to that.
Really good at basketball. And she starts attacking some of the scientists, and not only that, but it's clear that she's retained some memories of who she was and stuff, and they're like, how the fuck is this possible? Like, she's a clone.
Yeah,
clones don't remember things.
There's a goofy ass scene with I can never remember the guy's. He's in like a lot of really good movies, and he's good in all of them, but he's like the general guy.
The general oh yeah, it has memories. How
yeah,
his eyes.
He
was a fun character.
He's being just a goofball. Like he's acting like he's in like a Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah,
everyone's in a different movie, man. Dan Hedaya.
Yes, that is him. He was really funny in the
Blood Simple. Yeah, he's great.
Hairy shoulders in the business.
It's like a Sasquatch, dude.
How does it have memories? Like, byproduct of the genetic
process. Doy McFly. Like he's being really funny.
Yeah, that is the vibe. We're basically, so like the reason why she remembers is because in the cloning process, some of the alien and human DNA got crossed, so she's like part alien to the point where like, so she remembers some things, but they said like emotional autism caused, but she's like weird, man.
Yeah, she's basically got a superhero origin story at this point.
Yeah, she's got powers. Her blood is acidic.
Yeah, she's got super strength, and she's really good at basketball.
Yeah,
just like aliens are.
Exactly. She's great at basketball. She's got like a heightened sense. I'll say this off the bat. So, you can tell that Sigourney Weaver is having fun with this role in this movie, and it's a thing where she's like, I think it's cool that like they straight up didn't just, even though she's in this movie, this character is not Ripley from the last 3 movies.
No, this is a different character.
It is a different character that shares a connection with that character, but it is something different. Like she's got a different arc and different things going on.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, like rewatching it, I do appreciate that. Like, okay, you found a way to bring this actress back who's attached to this franchise and actually do something interesting with it.
Yeah. Because honestly, if you just have another movie where it's just straight up Ripley who's back, it starts to become a lot less. It becomes a lot less believable that her life is just cursed to just be around aliens by pure coincidence for her entire life. Yeah. And at some point she would just give up. Like I feel like, and I mean she did at the end of Alien 3, but like the amount of trauma that this one character just keeps experiencing. There's a reason like slasher movies don't have a consistent protagonist throughout.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. It becomes ridiculous at a point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but so she's all weird and horny.
Yes.
Also she has permanent black nails because aliens black
nails.
She's
goth now.
She's goth now. She's super goth. She's got a weird jacket.
She's got an alien jacket. Makes it look like an alien.
Weird leather jumpsuit. And pretty early on, so like it's this military operation. Oh yeah, we find out that Weyland-Yutani went under years ago and they were bought out by Walmart.
Yeah, that joke kind of broke my brain for a few minutes, I think.
Because you were like, oh, okay, this is the kind of movie.
This movie is a comedy, but like that joke was to the point where it was like, are you just saying fuck you to the audience
Yeah.
at this point? Like, fuck you for liking Alien and ever taking it seriously.
Because yeah, Weyland-Yutani is like the biggest threat. They are the bad guy of
They're
this
the
franchise,
overarching antagonist of all the movies up until this point.
and they're just like, oh no, they couldn't
They
compete with
got
that
bought
great
out
Alien.
by Walmart. Like they couldn't have just said they got bought out by another corporation or like a bigger corporation. They said Walmart, and that's just like a Family Guy joke. Like that.
Yeah,
That's still it cannot compute.
that's like well, yeah, Walmart paid us a little bit for some promotions, so
Yeah, it's
we're just
such a strange joke.
we're gonna say Walmart. Yeah, and basically after this, we're introduced to the crew of the Betty, which once I said now again is
Yeah,
the proto
it's the X-Men.
Serenity crew. Yeah, the X-Men. They look like they're all edgy 90s.
Yeah.
The first one we're introduced is the captain, Elgin, Frank Elgin, played by Michael Wincott,
Thank.
who has the
I was
raspiest voice.
very happy when he died. By the way.
You were? I thought you
Yes.
said you liked him.
No, I didn't say that. I thought
Okay.
it was. No.
He was a creep.
He seemed just like a boring, like mid 2000s video game protagonist.
I got you.
I had nothing that I was interested in about that guy.
Facts. The first thing he was doing, he was hitting on his his pilot
Yeah.
of the movie, and he was being a real creeper. And then we get introduced to Winona Ryder's character, Call, who there's a big reveal with her later, which we'll get to.
Oh my god.
And then Vreese, is that his character's name? Who's the other mechanic who is a paraplegic. He's got I really like his wheelchair. It's like a tank wheelchair. Like
It
a
is a
big
cool wheelchair, yeah.
honky techie that
It
has
looked
a
like
shotgun
a
built
Red
into
Faction gorilla.
Yeah. Actually, I do want to say off the bat, obviously a big thing over Alien 3, this feels like it's in the Alien universe. Like all
Yeah.
the tech and like all the kind of like dirty sci-fi like spaceship, like all the design of the clothes and the tech and the weapons and stuff feels like Alien.
Yeah,
You know, it
but
feels
it's
like
also
Aliens.
200 years in the future. That doesn't seem like anything's really progressed, so it's almost like
Yeah.
there's no point in it being 200 years in the future.
Yeah, they could have shortened that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
But either way,
Kind
like,
of exactly the same.
either way, like I do enjoy the look of this movie. I think some of the camera work can get pretty crazy during a lot of the action sequences.
Yeah, we were talking about like Raimi style, like horror,
Yeah.
like close-ups and wild faces,
close up,
wide
the way,
angles.
pans around at people's faces. Like I really enjoy it, and I think it gives
Yeah, that's
the
pretty
movie
wacky.
like an unsettling, like really kind of comic booky, exaggerated kind of feel, which is
Yeah.
what they're going for. But yeah, we get introduced to the crew of the Betty, and Ron Perlman as Johnner, he's the asshole.
He's the monkey man.
He's the monkey man, yeah. So then they're delivering some cargo to this military base, and Captain Elgin at that point he meets with the captain or the general guy,
Yeah.
and there's a little laser whiskey, which I always love. The little it's like a little
They have
like
solid cubes that they put in glasses, and then a laser liquefies it.
yeah. You
Which
thought it was stupid.
I guess. Well, I guess that's technically more efficient than carrying like a liquid on board, but also like, yeah, I still think it's pretty stupid.
Yeah. I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool, but yeah, it is pretty cheesy, like unnecessary.
It's a cool effect.
Yeah. But yeah, and then basically, Elgin, Michael Wincott's like, yeah, we want some room and board here on your secret military base for 2 days, where my band of criminals totally aren't gonna walk around and fuck shit up and
Yeah, and get drunk and wander around
and mess with your shit. Yeah, Alien, interesting. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page. They have the same actor, in like the suit for Alien
Cool.
Queen as lead alien, Alien Queen newborn. Interesting. Oh,
Good for him.
yeah, good for him. He gets to be the alien man. And basically, yeah. So we're kind of mulling around for a while, with the crew fucking around in the ship. Ron Perlman runs across Ripley playing basketball because they have a basketball hoop in the space station for some reason. It's like a military base. I guess it kind of makes sense. But she's playing basketball by herself.
Yep.
And Ron Perlman hits on her.
And she does a sick combat basketball routine where she hits
Yep.
him in the nuts and
Hits him in the nuts with the
circles it
basketball.
around his head and does some Harlem Globetrotter shit.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to mention Christie, the worst actor of all time. Gary Dordan, who is an act. He's all he is. He's the team carry. He's got two
Yeah,
taxi driver guns.
yeah, he's like a higher
Um,
level than everyone else there.
exactly. He's the highest level in the squad. He's like purely combat focused.
Yes,
No charisma, no intelligence, just all strength and
he's
dex.
basically Deadshot.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like
He
he
makes
does
these like
some Deadshot shit.
some like impossible, like just shoots a bullet at the wall and it ricochets off three things and hits people and
It's his
aliens.
target. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's when he dies, the only reason I'm sad is like, no, he was the most useful guy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Christy hits her in the head. I got a text. Christy hits her in the head with a weight thing, and she wipes the blood on the ground, and it's acid.
Acidic.
That's the first time you see the acid. Oh yeah, Ron Perlman has a creepy line where he's like, "If you don't want to play basketball, I know some other indoor sports."
Yeah.
This movie is
Yeah,
very horny.
that's something we brought up while we were watching it. Everybody wants to fuck everybody in this movie. Brad
Yeah.
Dourif, who I can't believe we haven't brought up yet.
Oh yeah.
A bright point in this film, Brad Dourif really
he's like
wants
the
to
lead.
fuck the aliens as
Yeah,
well.
he does. He has
Like,
there's a really great scene, well, great in quotes, an entertaining scene where he's observing some of the aliens in a cage, and he like goes up to the glass and kisses the glass.
yeah.
Um,
And I mean, like, listen, Alien is about like this, like psychosexual, like the horror of
mhm,
like reproduction and shit like that. So it makes sense
mhm.
for everyone to kind of be horny. That doesn't mean
Uh-huh.
it's not uncomfortable.
Yeah, it makes sense how a French filmmaker like this can. I
Yeah.
understand why they would go in this direction with it. Like it makes
Yes,
sense.
it does.
Um,
It's R
it's
rated. Go crazy.
Yeah, they go crazy with the sex. And yeah, basically, so Brad Dourif is one of the scientists, the voice of Chucky.
Yep.
He's great and creepy and weird in all of his scenes.
Yeah, he's
Um,
great.
it's funny that Brad Dourif is so well known for his voice. Like I feel like his voice is more famous than him, but I feel like he's such a great creepy presence with his face as well. Like it's
Yeah,
not
I
just his
mean, yeah,
voice.
I've never seen a single Chucky movie. Uh,
I've
but I,
I've sorry, go ahead.
but no, but I know him from like his live action performances, and like he's
Okay,
in
what?
like Deadwood, and he's in one of the Exorcist movies.
Okay,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and he's just
Yeah,
always consistently creepy and good at being creepy in movies.
yeah. No, I think this is the only, um, I think this is the only movie where I've seen him physically. Well, technically, you see him physically for a second in the first Chucky, and then like his soul gets transferred. But,
Yeah,
yeah, he's the voice of Chucky, and I think his voice performance is fucking incredible in those movies.
nice.
Which yeah, they're fun. Me and Courtney have seen up to the fourth or fifth one.
Yeah,
Um, they kind of get worse. Like the first two are actually good horror movies, and then they kind of go into the comedy realm after
yeah,
that. But this is his own thing. That could be its own episode. But yeah, so Brad Dourif is flirting with the alien. Um, yeah, and at this point, the two scenes that are kind of intercut. Um, Winona Ryder goes to kill Ripley. In her little cage.
hmm
And she doesn't because she sees the scar, like the alien was already taken
yeah.
out. So she's like, "There's no point." And there's a real in the beginning of their sexual tension with these two
That lasts
characters.
throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, where like Ripley clone is like rubbing all over her face and shit. And while this is going on, the aliens that Brad Dourif is watching, there are three of them in this cage. Three aliens in this cage, and two of them they start hissing at each other. And the fact that they didn't think about this, and you said like, why
Part
the fuck
two
don't
that
they?
absolutely broke my brain in this movie.
Um, two of the aliens in the cage murder the other one, trying to spread the acid around the acid blood as much as they can, and they make a big hole in the floor so that they can escape.
And it's like they have all these cells full of aliens, and they never thought for a second, what if one of them gets a fucking paper cut and they get to escape and wreak havoc on the shit? Like that never occurred to anybody creating this facility.
Nope.
And I can't think of a single refutation for that. Like that is just a blatant stupid ass plot hole.
Yeah, just stupid decisions. And then right after the aliens go down, Brad Dourif goes in the little cell room. And he gets snatched.
He goes right in.
Aliens.
Yep.
And then there's a funny scene where like a soldier man that we've never seen before goes into the room, and there's like a little freeze, like a little like a fire extinguisher button in the room that Brad Dourif was using to torture the aliens. And one of the aliens uses his little mouth to push the button while the soldiers which is so stupid.
Yep. It really continues the tone of bafflingly ridiculous comedy juxtaposed with horror.
Why would the alien care? Also, the alien's got hands.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to use his little mouth.
Also, the alien would probably just rip that fucking guy apart.
Yeah, like why use the fucking thing? Like
they're animals.
But like I'd be like, why you're wasting a perfectly good incubator there?
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, but it's just, you know, they're not gremlins. Like they literally just want to kill people. Like, that's what they do. That's all they do.
So there's a big scatter. Some people on the base make it off in escape pods. Some don't. The general character gets killed in a really gross way. Like he gets.
Well, they blew up the escape pod. That guy. He blows up the escape pod, gives a big stupid salute, and then dies and holds a piece of his brain in front of himself and goes cross-eyed.
Yeah, it's real goofy. It's real like
It's a wacky ass movie.
A lot of the deaths are pretty over the top and kind of like silly gory like that. But then Michael Wincott, the captain, Elgin, he finds some goo in the hall. Which, by the way, for those of you seeing Alien Romulus next week, that's going to be my big test. If they don't follow the goo rule in every Alien movie, if you come across goo, you're dead.
Yep. If you find goo and you're alone, you're fucked.
Yeah, and if Alien Romulus doesn't do that, then 0 out of 10.
Yeah. Negative 10.
Yep. And basically he gets killed in a really satisfying way. I really like when the alien stabs him, like he just coughs up blood. He gets pulled through the floor. Oh yeah, you had mentioned that all these floors in this movie are really weak.
Like, yeah, they're all just like grates that for some reason have hinges that let them just bend down at any time. This is probably like worst case scenario on a ship that's designed to hold aliens.
Yeah. People get pulled through the floor so much in this movie.
Yep.
And basically, so he gets killed, and then we've kind of got our main squad, like our little team going across, and then we get our ticking clock plot point.
Yeah.
Where Ripley's like, the ship is moving. I can tell with my alien senses. And they're like, oh no.
Yeah. And then Call's like, I can also feel. Don't worry about how.
Oh yeah, that was. Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that like that was them hinting at. Yeah,
Call is Winona Ryder, by the way.
Winona Ryder's character.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder. Oh, the sunset looks pretty outside. Anyway, fucking. What was I saying? Yeah. So and then the scientist guy's like, oh no, like when if something goes on with the ship, then it's programmed to go back to Earth. And it's like dun dun dun.
Yeah.
The aliens. So they're trying.
And that was another thing is like, why is it not programmed just to like fly into the sun? Why would you? Well, it's like they have this is a universe with zero contingency plans.
Well, I think the thing is like, it's not if there's like an alien infestation. I think it's if the ship is damaged in some way.
But it's like
supposed to go back to Earth for repairs.
But we know what this ship is being used for.
That's true. That's a good point.
What's the most likely way this ship's going to be damaged?
True.
A fucking alien gets loose because we have cells that aren't acid proof.
True facts. And then they go along, and I'm pretty sure the next scene is they find I don't even remember Purvis. A little scrawny guy, scrawny glasses man. We skipped over that scene. Yeah, so and actually that plot, but long and short, the Betty, the space pirates, they stole some people that were in cryo
Oh
sleep.
yeah, yeah. That's the whole reason that they're here.
Yeah, to be used as hosts for the aliens. And there's a really honestly fucking disturbing scene where basically they're like strapped down to a table, leaned over facehugger eggs, and basically like face raped by the facehuggers.
Yep.
And it's pretty
upsetting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
That's the thing, is this movie isn't scary, it's just disturbing. It's like kind of shifted, like the first movie's scary, the second movie's scary, and then somewhere in 3 we kind of shifted into it being, this is now a body horror franchise.
Yeah. It goes more in that body horror direction rather than being just about the tension.
I'm not scared, I'm just grossed out for most of this movie.
Yeah, it gets real gross. I feel like even the Alien vs Predator Requiem is like that too, where like everything is just gross.
Yeah.
It's not really scary.
What you can see.
So Purvis has one of the aliens inside of him, and it's a really funny bit where they're all trying to decide what to do, and he's like, "What's inside me?" And he bursts out, "What's in fucking inside me?" And Ripley gives this really creepy speech.
Basically, because he's like freaking out and he wants someone to tell him like what's going on, and no one wants to do it, and she's just like, "I'll tell him, fuck it."
She explains it really calmly in such a horrible way, like there's a monster in your chest and it'll burst through your rib cage and you're gonna die. And he's like, "Oh, okay,
that's what's going on."
And then she's like, "I'm the monster's mother," and it's like, "Oh, so wait,
yeah, she does it in like this like really like intimate way, like she gets like really close to him.
Yeah,
and it's like, God, are you supposed to be like trying to turn him on, or like what's going on?
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah, no, so then, they bring Purvis along, and the plan at this moment for him is when we get him to the bed, we'll put him in cryo sleep, and we'll deal with it later.
Yeah, I'm sure that the chest burster won't appear in this movie.
Chekhov's chest burster, the chest burster is not going to go off.
Let's bring this guy along with us. It's really smart.
And then the next scene is, like I said, probably the most effective, like, horror scenes for me, like a scene that really did like, oh man, this is so terrible, is the Ripley clone in this movie is Ripley 8. She's got a little 8 tattoo on her arm, all of Stranger Things, or the Holocaust.
It's referencing one of those, who knows which.
One came first. And basically there's a room called 1 through 7, which you pointed out, like, do they have to change the label every time they made a new clone? And she goes into the room, and you see all these reject alien clone bodies in tubes.
Yeah.
And
they get progressively more gross and upsetting.
Yeah, they get progressively more gross. There's one that basically has like an alien face but a woman body.
Yeah.
And like one that's like a little baby thing. And yeah, it's pretty nasty. And then it turns out that there's one clone, presumably number 7.
They're keeping alive.
That they're keeping alive and like still studying. And
it's got Ripley's head.
It's got Ripley's head and like a weird morphed body, and it's really sad. And like Sigourney Weaver, like this is probably her best moment of acting in this movie. As far as she's just like really disturbed by all this, and the Ripley clone is like, "Kill me."
Yeah.
And we were just like,
Call just walks up into the room and wordlessly gives her a flamethrower. It doesn't even look like Call's like looking around. She just like walks in and she's like, "Here you go. You seem like you need this."
Yeah, I can read a room.
Yeah.
And then instead of shooting this clone in the head, which probably would be the more merciful way, she lights it on fucking fire.
Yeah. Which is like, I'm gonna kill this thing in the most painful way possible.
Yeah, this thing that I have all this sympathy for.
Like, we have regular guns back there, but we're actually just gonna use the painful option.
Yeah. And then Ripley, she burns all the rest of the clones, and she's about to kill the evil scientist man they have in the group. Which, why fucking not?
Just do it, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I thought it was a good scene, like really good.
Disturbing.
Disturbing, but also just like I think it's a really good performance from Sigourney Weaver at that point. Like I
felt
like I had a lot of weight. Like I feel like her character has a pretty solid arc in this movie.
That's fair,
in my opinion. But yeah, so that's that scene. Ron Perlman has a little joke like, "What the fuck? It was a waste of ammo."
Yeah,
must be a chick thing. And then we get another funny joke where Ron Perlman's like, "Hey Ripley, I heard you dealt with these things before. What did you do?" And
I died.
I died. And Ron Perlman stands there like, oh shit. I think that overall, I feel like this cast has pretty solid chemistry with each other.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all
Like
like consummate professionals, except for
yep,
Tuco from Breaking Bad, who kind of does a really bad job at everything except for Breaking Bad.
yeah, he's just goofy.
Yeah.
I know him as the shit pushed in guy from Training Day, which we're gonna do a Training Day episode at some point. It's not really,
Okay.
it's not sci-fi, it's not really horror, but I want to talk about
But
it.
it's Training Day.
But it's Training Day. But anyway, yeah. Next scene is the underwater scene,
Where Ron Perlman almost died.
where Ron Perlman almost died filming. And yeah, you can kind of tell because like it's a pretty crazy set.
It goes on for like 5 minutes that they're underwater. It's insane.
They're under there for a while, but it's like they basically have this whole kitchen flooded with water.
Yeah.
And like you can tell these actors are deep in it because there's like shit above them.
Yeah, there's like roofs over them and shit.
Yeah, and they're just like completely submerged, and like it's an impressive. It's a pretty for me. It's a pretty impressive set piece even in that regard. But there are some CGI aliens swimming under the water, and they don't look great.
They don't look good at all. They look like the bug in the first shot.
But they look better than Alien 3.
That's true. You got to give it that.
Which ain't saying much. Yeah, and then what's it called? And then I'm gonna try to like folks at home. Like I got I guess 10:30, so we got enough time. But what was I saying? So yeah, and then they come upon the other side, and it's kind of just like they run into one issue. They're underwater for like 5 minutes. Yeah. There's no way they can hold their breath for as long as they do, especially because they're like stressed and like run, you know. But they come across like on the other side. Basically, there's like a what's it called? There's like a organic skin.
There's like
surface.
A weird like spider web they have to break through.
Yeah, and then once they do break through it,
facehuggers,
facehugger eggs, and one of them jumps on Ripley's face, and she pulls it off underwater.
Yeah.
And then Christy, whilst under the water, shoots a grenade at the eggs through like a mirror.
Yeah.
I guess that
he has his Deadshot moment.
And once one of them blows up, it just triggers all the other ones to blow up.
Yeah, they're like explosive barrels in Doom. Like, don't worry about it.
They're just flammable.
Yeah, they're all extremely flammable, I guess.
Like, shut the fuck up. And I remember this scene when they're climbing up the ladder and Ron Perlman's hanging upside down shooting at an alien.
Yeah, with dual-wielding pistols.
You said, like, this movie's winning me over.
Yeah.
Because
it's literally it's like taking a deep breath after watching Alien 3. Like, it's like, all right, because we've gone in such a different direction now where now it's actually like kind of fun to watch, even though I think it's bad and stupid. I'm still entertained.
Also, I'll give it this over Alien 3. Just way more shit happens in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't really like in Alien 3, I feel like there are so many scenes where like people are just kind of meandering, just like dumb shit where like bald heads are just
something's always happening in this because this is an action movie.
Yeah. Like, I feel like every scene for the most part like moves things forward.
Absolutely.
Like something leads to the next, like, oh, like this is a problem because this, or it's like some decent character building stuff where it's like the moment where I remember you comment when the general guy was just like oiling his shoe or whatever, you know, just like little character beats like that. But yeah, no. So evil scientist man shoots Winona Ryder, and she falls into the water.
She's dead for real.
Oh no! But she has all this sexual attention with Sigourney Weaver.
Bring her back.
Yep. And then once they get through this room, Call opens the door for them, and it's like, how did you survive? And
she's bleeding yogurt.
She's bleeding milk.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that she's an android, which you were completely surprised by. Yeah,
that actually got me. I always forget that androids exist in these movies until they show up, you know?
It is true. Prometheus and Alien Covenant focus a lot more on android shit. But definitely, I do. In these 4 movies, the androids are kind of just like a side thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're not the main focus. But yeah, Call's an android. She's a robot made by robots, they say. Like, she's like a, you know, like an anti-robot.
It's like, sure, whatever.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you can remote control the ship by plugging in. and when they
She
plug
does.
in, she has what's up?
Oh yeah, she pulls a mole out of her arm.
She pulls a mole and it's got like a white
There's
string.
like a little string that comes out, and if it didn't have the string, it wouldn't be nearly as disturbing.
In a movie full of gross shit, that was probably one of the
That's the one that
grossest.
got you the most, yeah.
Well,
And then they
not
put a
the
little
mo,
needle into it and it like wiggle it around inside of her arm.
not this moment, but not that a thing later is the grossest thing in this movie. Which
Yeah.
we're almost at. um. So yeah, Call accesses the mainframe with her robot. She plugs in, which yeah, we were saying every movie we do this, like what, like oh man, you could make a video game of this. Like if you had like a little like you'd have the android class
Yeah.
totally in like your like alien like dungeon crawler,
Be able to access certain things, yeah.
access terminals and shit. That would definitely be a thing. But yeah, opens a pathway to the Betty. They start zooming the fuck out of there. And then Ripley gets pulled through a grate.
Yeah.
Down below.
She gets down on her hands and knees and says,
like,
I'm hearing the call of the queen," and it's like, what the fuck
like,
is going on in this movie? Yeah, and Elsie turned to me and is for the rest of this movie, it's going to be off the fucking rails, just so you know.
And it is.
It is, yes.
It gets crazy from this point. You thought it was crazy before.
Yeah, it gets wacky.
Yep. So she falls into just a big pulsating pit of aliens and alien flesh.
Yep.
Like moving nest parts and like aliens in suits. She's just like getting sucked into it, and it's a pretty cool fucking shot.
Yeah, the doom result
the doom
screen
wall texture.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And she gets sucked into the alien pit, and the rest of the crew's like, "Fuck it, leave her, let's go."
Fuck it, yeah.
She's got her own thing.
She's one with the slime now.
and we get a shot where she's being carried by an alien, but
she kind of cuddles it. It does look like she's having sex with it. Yeah,
it looks like she's having sex with it. Which Sigourney Weaver said that she wanted to have sex with an alien in this movie.
Good for her.
Like a lot of the like sexy like performance, the horniness of this movie, she was very on board for, and like
good for her,
was
man.
Interested in. So yeah, and I feel like you can tell she's having fun in this one, especially with watching Alien 3 back to back, where you could just tell she's bored as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So she gets brought into the lair of the Queen, and we get a little bit more Brad Dourif in this, where
he gets to ham it up one last time.
He's hung up on the wall, and it's funny. He's explaining to the audience what's going on. That very much is his purpose in this scene, but his delivery is just so good.
No, he is great.
He's explaining to the audience that, like, yeah, so like the
because he's in love with the alien.
Yeah, because he wants to fuck, because he's so turned on by this whole situation. And he's explaining, like, yeah, so the alien queen has a quote unquote human reproductive system because she's part human and is giving birth.
Big pregnant belly.
The alien queen has a big pregnant belly, and how did this newborn get fertilized? Who knows?
Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Who cares? And she gives birth to.
It takes forever.
She gives birth to this creature that is like it's referred to as the newborn.
It's shaped like a xenomorph, but it's covered in like fat. It was covered in flesh. You just typed in newborn into.
I just typed in newborn, but not
Google
newborn alien. She types in this creature that is like. So I feel like, the human alien thing, like there's like a balance between, like the aliens being more creature like this thing. The problem with it is that it looks too close to human.
This thing hurts to look at.
Yeah, it's in the uncanny valley. Like
it's like unpleasant to look at.
It's flesh colored. It's got titties.
It's got a big skull face and puppy dog eyes and a little nose nub.
The little nose nub that wiggles.
It's got flesh all over. No, it is so unpleasant that it's not even like fun anymore.
It's not really cool. It's not really cool.
It's just gross. Yeah.
The whole time I'm like, can we kill this thing?
Yeah, can we not have this in the movie anymore?
I remember as a kid, I just kind of turned the movie off at this point.
It's so gross.
I was more scared of this thing as a kid than fucking
Yeah,
anything else.
I
And
bet.
it's supposed to the director, they wanted it to have like a vagina and shit, which it kind of does in some of this concept art that me
Sad.
and Joseph are looking at on Google. But yeah, no, this thing is just awful, and it's an abomination. It kills the alien queen.
Yep, rips the
Um,
face off.
Rips its face off. And Ripley is also another thing is that Ripley is very clearly disgusted by this thing. She kind of like gets out of her like little her little mode of
Yeah.
like I want to be with the aliens, and now she's like, nope, fuck it.
Yeah.
I
She
am
still feels
done.
like some kind of maternal instinct toward it, though, which is
Oh yeah, no,
weird.
she still feels a connection to it, but she's like very clear at this point. She's like, yeah, this isn't right. It goes and it kills. It bites Brad Dorf's head.
Yeah, bites the top of his head in a really strangely edited sequence.
And he's like, "Come on, come over here."
Come here,
Like he's
buddy.
encouraging it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you want a little snack?
Yeah.
And he eats his brain.
God, I love him.
And then and then I want to make sure we talk about this scene with the chest burster. So evil scientist man makes it to the Betty and is like holding
Yeah.
Call up on the gunpoint, trying to like get them to fly him out
Yeah.
of there.
And chest burster guy is starting to
Yep, and then
really
Purvis
feel
starts
it.
chest bursting. And we get a sequence where like it doesn't really make any sense within the context of how we know the chest burster working.
There is nowhere to go after this point. Like there's nothing to do but reboot the franchise after this happens.
It goes. This is the most Evil Dead scene in the movie too.
Yeah.
Because he like gets up and evil scientist man is shooting at him, but he's just still coming towards him.
Yeah.
And he fucking slams him against the wall.
Yep.
And shit. And it's just like really high octane.
I thought it was like
the
the cockroach from Men in Black, like it was like puppeting his body.
Yeah, it was nuts. He looked possessed.
Yeah.
And then he puts the evil scientist man's head up against his chest, and there's a CGI shot going down his throat.
Yep.
And the chest burster
Like in
bursts
Death
through the
Stranding.
guy's head. And all the characters on the ship kind of like look at each other.
Yeah.
And they
Like,
start
wow, this
shooting.
movie sucks.
And I love the shot. I love the shot, like the final shot before they cut away.
Yeah.
It's just Ron Perlman screaming, shooting at this thing.
That
And
is
he's
a
like,
really funny shot. Yeah, he's just scared, screaming.
It's so funny. Oh god, it's like I said. I think this movie has a lot of problems for sure.
Yeah.
It's not exactly high art.
No.
It doesn't really have a lot of deep themes. The writing is pretty
Descended
bad.
into action garbage.
Yeah, no, it is. It's pretty trashy. It's very 90s.
Yeah.
It's very of its time. But I definitely, it's still a fun watch.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that we were on substances when we watched it.
No, yeah. It was fun sober though.
It was fun. We were able to crack jokes at it, and yeah, at this point, it really is just having a ride. So after this scene, Ripley makes it back to the Betty, and they escape. And surprise, surprise,
One last fight.
one last scare because it's a slasher movie. The newborn made its way onto the fucking ship, and Call is like in the back cargo room, and she gets caught by it. And it's so disgusting. And it sticks its weird fleshy human long fingers into her milk hole. And, oh, by the way, that's another thing is that Call clearly feels pain.
Yep.
Like the android,
Which is interesting.
And
I
I
mean,
feel like
so did Shepard. Bishop. Shepard's who he plays in Modern Warfare 2.
I think in Alien 3 it's more emotional pain.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or I don't know, like it's a deeper
Sure.
Because like when Bishop gets ripped apart in Aliens and when Ash's head is on the table,
Yeah.
they're not like, oh god, but like
That's fair.
Call very clearly feels pain with this bullet hole and shit, but
That's true.
yeah, but anyway, so yeah, so and then Ripley comes back and we get a little bit of a scene where Ripley's like basically kind of trying to lure her, like, come here, baby. You know, and she cuts herself on its teeth, Oh, and we see its long, weird tongue. I remember.
Yeah.
Or it's got a long, weird
Yeah, it
human.
licks her face. Yeah, it's
Gene
disgusting.
Simmons. It's so awful.
It's
She cuts
disgusting.
her hand on its teeth, throws her acid blood on the window, and it makes a perfectly circular hole for some reason. And the newborn gets sucked over
through
to the
that
hole,
tiny little hole.
and we get such a gross death.
It's
for
a
this gross
long
creature.
scene of this like 9 foot tall alien, human-like alien, getting sucked through a tiny little hole.
And it's I think another part of what's scary about it is that it's behavior. It's behaving like a child.
Yeah, it's got these like sad eyes at times. It's really upsetting.
It emotes like way too human or like way too readable.
Yeah.
And it's like begging like a child for its life. Basically, it's like, ah, you know.
Yeah.
It also, the sound design of it is just. But yeah, so its flesh gets sucked through the hole. It's really gross. its organs are fucking falling out. It's just so nasty.
Yep.
And and the final shot is they make it into Earth's atmosphere, and you see they're looking out at the clouds.
It's weird ending to a weird fucking movie.
Yep, and it's a happy end. It's a happy ending
For the first time in the series.
Yeah, like it's really happy. It's optimistic. This plot line gets continued. I haven't read this comic, but there's a comic called Alien vs Predator vs Terminator. That is a direct continuation of this plot line.
Yeah.
Where like it follows Clone Ripley and Call on Earth.
God, they just can't get away from him.
Yeah.
And it's got Predator in it too.
Yep, and you see there's the Ripley clone there. Yeah, it's Alien vs Predator vs Terminator.
Jesus Christ.
I think
I'm okay actually. Yeah.
Too much going on.
Yeah.
I don't need to see a lot. But yeah, so that's Alien Resurrection.
Wow. One experience.
Definitely. So seeing these 4, how do you rank all 4?
Oh, Alien 1, Aliens. I think it's pretty obvious. Alien Resurrection, Alien 3. Like, I'm not gonna break any new ground here.
Absolutely.
I think you like Aliens better though, right?
When I was a kid, I did. Now I definitely prefer. I think the first Alien holds up way better.
Yeah.
Like back in April, I think they did a 4K re-release.
Yeah, especially watching it in 4K, it looks like a modern movie almost.
Oh, 100%. When we saw it, I really want to get the 4K Blu-ray of it, as long as it's not fucking scratched. Yeah, we saw it in theaters in the 4K restoration, and it looked like it could have come out yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like with a lot of these older movies being restored, a lot of the only like these 35mm movies especially, the only thing that really gives it away as an older movie to me.
It's the film grain.
Is
it the film grain?
No, it's the sound.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just as far as because I think the technology of recording sound has changed and evolved so much more than how we record video.
Yeah.
Especially like modern film, because like a lot of movies are still shot on film, but even then, like the way a digital camera, the way a film camera works, that really hasn't changed that much. But the way we record sound like digitally versus like on tape, and also just the tools we have to mix, I think is the biggest thing. Because like, like the way all the dialogue sounds, like kind of how airy it is, like older, like that's the biggest ticket to me of like telling that an old movie is an old movie, even if it looks that good. Yeah, is that it looks, I can tell that this was recorded analog. Yeah. I can tell that this was recorded on tape type of deal, you know?
Yeah.
And even movies that are shot on film today, the audio isn't recorded on fucking tape.
No, they're using they're using a digital recorder.
Yeah, 100%. And that's and that's really the main thing. Alien Resurrection, yeah, it's fun if you are a fan of the first 2 Aliens. I guess my question to you...
It's fine. Don't watch it, though.
Do you think you need to see 3 to get...
no,
don't
4? Watch 3. Yeah. I mean, I know the rare odd duck likes Alien 3, but most people will not. It's boring, and it's not fun, and it's just a bad time.
the only important information you need from 3, in my opinion, is that Ripley gets
impregnated and dies.
And she dies.
That's literally all you need to know. And they tell you that at the beginning of this movie, so you don't need to watch Alien 3.
That's true. Yeah. You can almost just assume that like after Aliens, she gets cloned and shit.
Yep.
That's a good point. Yeah. When we do the Romulus episode, I'm definitely going to ask you and Harvey. What movies do you think? We're definitely going to have a discussion. We're probably. God, I'm excited, but I'm also very nervous. But
Romulus.
We're definitely going to talk about like what movies do you think are essential viewings for? Because the Fede Alvarez, the director, said the only movie you need to see is the first one, right?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Exciting.
But yeah, so we're gonna do the prop question. I guess
that's a tough one, dude. I think I'm gonna just pick one for both movies.
Okay.
And that's just I just want an alien head. Which I might get when I see Romulus.
That's true. I got the alien popcorn head bucket when me and Courtney went to see Trap.
You know what? I'll take the newborn head just because it's so uncomfortable looking.
Ew, this is gross.
Yeah, just to make people. I'll hang it over my door as a warning.
I might want Christie's taxi driver guns.
Okay. They're pretty cool.
Maybe Reese's wheelchair.
Those are
some.
Yeah.
There's some kind of cool tech stuff in the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I'd like a model of the ship, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, no, I know what I want. I want Ron Perlman's thermos gun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Blows out the bottom.
It was pretty funny that all of them snuck weapons in.
Yeah, literally all of them. They were searched when they got there, and literally all of them still had weapons.
Yeah. Let's see. We're not going to do this week, but I want to let you know, let the audience know that if you go to midnightmoviegang.com, we have a new section called What's a Movie, and it's basically like a weekly movie prompt that we're going to start doing every week just as a segment. As a reason for people go to the website, midnightmoviegang.com. This week's prompt was, what's a movie that you will always finish no matter where you start it from? I went with Training Day. Joseph went with Kill Bill Volume 1. Courtney went with Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer. It's a good pick.
You can go ahead and message us what you would pick for that prompt. You can also go to the website and suggest new prompt ideas for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been Midnight Movie Gang. You can follow us on Instagram at Midnight Movie Gang. Follow us on YouTube at the Movie Gang Podcast.
Check us out.
Go to the Patreon. It's $5 a month. You get access to new episodes and videos 2 days early, and you also get access to an exclusive monthly commentary track of a movie. The two that we have up there are Signs, and our most recent one is Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, check those out. Those were fun.
Check those out. Those were fun to record, and they definitely made Cowboys, and it's definitely going to make Cowboys and Aliens a more fun watch.
God damn. All cowboys, barely any aliens, man.
Yeah. All the alien stuff is sick, but the cowboy stuff is fucking boring as shit. But yeah, so this has been Midnight Movie Gang. Thank you for listening to this episode. Yeah, so definitely stay tuned. The episode that comes out the week after this is going to be our Alien Romulus episode.
Yep.
So please, stay tuned for that. Excited to talk about that. Yeah, get pumped. And see y'all next time. Good night. Bye.
The childish frustrations and the complexes which the police were searching for James Thomas, believed to be the lover of Mrs. Williams, and her partner in the horrible murder of Walter. Grant everybody that I'm here to hold on. Oh, please tell me where they've gone. Please tell me. Sorry, I don't know. How long is it? Mile and a half? Look what I got in here. 3 tickets to Albany on 6 o'clock train tonight. What do you think?